On this video, I am going to do a review and a revision of what I've done before in inductive Hebrew grammars. And I'm going to, on this video, work on Psalm 1, looking at the text, vocabulary, grammar, followed by translation, and then a brief commentary. So we're at the first verse, but let me just introduce the vocabulary. Asher is a noun meaning happiness. Halak is the verb that means to walk. Eitzah is a noun meaning counsel. Rasha is an adjective meaning wicked. Hate, a noun meaning sinner. Amad is a verb meaning to stand. Moshav is the noun that means seat. Litz is a verb to mock. And yashav is a verb meaning to sit. So if we read it in Hebrew, verse 1, Ashrei ha'ish asher lo halak be'atzat reshaim u'v'derech chata'im lo amad u'v'moshav leitzim lo yashav. Happy is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, nor stand in the way of habitual covenant breakers, nor sit in the seat of the mockers. So we look at the grammar then, having seen the basic vocabulary. We start off with the phrase Ashrei ha'ish. Happy, literally, happinesses of the man. Ashrei is a noun in construct to ha'ish. Notice that seri yod, which shows that the noun is in a construct plural form. The word asher means happiness, and in the construct masculine it becomes excuse me, always seems like I do it when I start taping. And that is asher, meaning happiness. In the construct masculine plural, it becomes ashrei. So it is happinesses. That is like a multitude of happinesses. This is like a fixed plural form whenever you find it in the Hebrew scriptures in construct, like happinesses belong to the man. Notice the word ha'ish. Ish is the Hebrew noun for man. And notice the definite article ha, the hey with the long a vowel, the long commas, and that's because the aleph, which is the next syllable, cannot take a dogish. It cannot take the lamed. So you have compensatory lengthening in the article here. Normally the article has a pathak followed by a dogish forte. How does that happen? It comes from the previous historical prototype of hal ish, where the lamed follows the hey, hal. And here it's dropped out. And so we have compensatory lengthening under the hey, from a pathak to a comet. So ashrei ha'ish asher. Asher is a relative pronoun meaning blessed is the man who. Notice the alliteration here in Ashrei ha'ish asher. One of the beautiful things about the Hebrew Psalms and poetry is literary assonance or alliteration, something you cannot find in a translation. The sheen, the resh, and the aleph, and the repetition of these consonants. Ashrei, ha'ish, asher. Beautiful uh, alliteration or literary assonance. So Ashrei ha'ish asher lo halak. Notice lo is the negative particle not, and halak is a verb. It is the cow perfect third masculine singular from the root halak, meaning to walk. So blessed is the man who does not walk. Lo is the negative particle, and I think the perfect here, it's a cow perfect third masculine singular, is looking in a summary way at one's overall life, who does not walk, sort of a collective idea, taking in the whole of one's life. So blessed is the man who has not walked, who does not walk. Halak is an interesting word, and it has to do with conduct. So when it says it does not walk, has not conducted his life in a wrong way, in the counsel of the wicked ones. Ba'atzat reshaim. In that phrase, notice ba here is a preposition. Notice the noun etzah, meaning counsel, becomes atzat because it's in construct with reshaim. It's a hurried pathak under the ayin called a hatef pathak. What happens here, that pathak part of that shifts over under the sadi, and so the final hay then becomes at. So Eitzah Reshaim becomes Atzat Reshaim. That is, happy is the man who does not walk Ba'atzat Reshaim, in the counsel of the wicked ones. Then we move on to the next phrase, Uvedere Chataim Lo Amad. In other words, he does not conduct his life according to the advice of those that are wicked. The next phrase is Uvedere Chataim Lo Amad. That is, and in the counsel of the and in the way of habitual sinners he does not sit. U is your conjunction, and then as we go on, notice here u vederik. Ve is the preposition in, and in the way of sinners. Derek, by the way, is a noun, and it's in construct with chataim, in the way of sinners. Notice you have two nouns in construct here. So you treat them what may be like a genitive in Greek. In other words, in the way of covenant breakers, chataim. That's what chataim means. It is a noun that means a professional covenant breaker. Notice the dogish in the tet shows something that is continuous going on. It is emphasizing this as an emphatic kind of man who is a practicing covenant breaker. So the happy person does not walk in that way. And the noun, notice the noun hate actually means to break a covenant. When in the ancient world, a king addresses another king, he might say, "You have sinned against me," meaning you have broken the covenant agreement that we have had. Also, a secondary meaning of hate, het tet aleph, is to miss the mark. We see this, for example, in the arrow, using an illustration that is shot at a mark and falls short, as it were. Uh, for example, in the account of David and Jonathan, there was an arrow that did not go far as the mark that had been set. So it has that idea as well. Hate, in its secondary meaning, then means to miss the mark. In its first meaning, means to break a covenant relationship. And then im, uvaderechata im is the masculine plural ending. Happiness comes to the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, nor in the way of sinners does he stand. And so that leads us then, Uvaderi Chataim Lo Amad. By the way, Lo Amad does not stand. You have your negative particle in lo, followed by the verb amad. Amad means to stand. So the happy man, the righteous man, does not stand on the path where habitual covenant breakers stand. As we said, lo is a negative particle. Amad is again a cal perfect, third masculine singular from the verb amad, to stand. By the way, this is a more entrenched position that is being taken here, entrenched position, from walking to standing on the road where habitual covenant breakers stand. We're looking at sort of an increase of moving in the wrong direction. Uve moshav leitzim lo yashav, nor in the seat of the mockers he does not sit. U, again, is your conjunction and or nor. And moshav leitzim, notice moshav meaning seat, and leitzim is from the root leitz, which is a cal participle, masculine plural, from that root. So in the seat of those who mock, or the mockers, he does not sit. Notice, by the way, the im is your masculine plural ending in leitzim. So he does not take the seat where those that mock the things of God sit. Lo yashav, notice lo again is your negative particle. Yashav is the cal perfect again, third masculine singular from the root yashav. Notice the double commas here and the final commas because we are at the end of a verse. And we lengthen this in a pausal way. And so, nor in the seat of the mockers, he does not sit, pause. And that's what is happening here. So, translating it again, happiness says, many belong to the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, and in the way of sinners he does not stand, nor in the seat of the mockers he does not sit. Notice the devolution in the text. Happinesses, a multitude of happinesses, belong to the man who does not do these three things. Number one, he does not walk in the advice of the wicked. Number two, he does not stand on the road where habitual covenant breakers stand. This is looking at a more fixed position. And that's usually the way things happen. And then number three, finally, he does not sit, moving from standing to sitting. He does not sit in the seat of the mockers. This now looks at one becoming a teacher, sitting in the seat of a teacher and making light of the great truths of God. This is a progressive decline. If we could use that word, and it also shows a more fixed position, moving from following advice to furthermore taking a fixed position of standing on the road where habitual covenant breakers stand, and then finally taking the role of a professor, a teacher, seated in the position of a teacher to mock the things of the Lord. That's the negative progression of what the happy man does not do. So the happy man does not do these things. But in verse 2, we're going to see his delight or her delight. The person that's happy will be delighted to be in the Torah Adonai, in the law of the Lord. May that be our delight.